Hi, my name is Veer Trivedi and today we will be discussing of what is called India's one of biggest corporate merger. So the banking space has largely stayed very muted in the past 1 year and it has not been in the news for quite some time. If we compare Bank Nifty with Nifty 50 in the past 1 year, the Bank Nifty has actually underperformed. But the past week has been a roller coaster ride for this banking space. In the past week, Axis Bank announced that it will be acquiring Citibank's retail business into its own. And today morning, Hdfc Bank announced that it is merging Hdfc's limited business into Hdfc Bank. Now, this deal is said to be one of India's biggest corporate merger and it is considered to be one of the biggest event in India's financial sector. Now, why is this considered to be such a big news? To give you some idea about the magnitude of this deal, so now post this merger, the merged entity is likely to create the third largest entity in India in terms of market cap. Secondly, the merged entity would also create the biggest stock in terms of weight in Nifty 50. So currently the biggest weightage in Nifty 50 is of Reliance Industry, which is at around 11.9%. Post this acquisition, the merged entity would have the highest weightage in Nifty 50. Now that we have some idea about how big of a deal this is, let's check out the deal details. So HDFC this morning announced that the company will merge itself with HDFC Bank. Now, as for the current structure, HDFC owns 21.5% equity in HDFC Bank. Now, post this merger, the shareholders of HDFC Limited will acquire 41% stake in HDFC Bank. Also, the shareholders of HDFC Limited as of record date will receive 42 shares of HDFC Bank for every 25 shares of HDFC Limited. Now we have some idea of how big the deal is, what is the deal about. Now let us try to understand what is the rationale behind this deal. So firstly, talking from an HDFC Bank's point of view, HDFC Bank will get the exposure, will get the expertise of the housing loan sector from HDFC Limited. HDFC Limited in India has close to 445 offices. So these 445 offices can potentially be converted into HDFC Bank branches, thus increasing the distribution power of HDFC Bank and would also immensely help HDFC Bank to cross-sell their products. Now, what benefit will HDFC Limited get from this merger? So, HDFC Limited is not a bank. So, therefore, they do not have access to deposits. Deposits are considered to be the cheapest source of funds. So, thus, HDFC Limited previously did not have access to cheap funds which bank had access to. Now that HDFC Limited and HDFC Bank are merging together, HDFC Limited will now have access to cheaper source of funds. Now we have discussed about some key rationale of this deal. Now let's try to understand what could be the key challenges for this deal. So firstly, as I've mentioned before, this is considered to be one of the biggest deal in India. So this is bound to have a lot of regulatory concerns. So this merger would require regulatory approval from RBI, from SEBI, from stock exchanges, from shareholders and also from other financial institutions. Now also this merger would require HDFC Bank to increase its CRR and SLR requirements. So now HDFC Bank, in order to fulfill this CRR and SLR requirement, they would have to set aside certain cash for it. So in order to set aside certain cash, this could have a temporary or short-term effect on the company's margins and profitability. So these were the two key challenges which the bank would face post this merger. Now to conclude, in all, this seems to be a very positive news for both the entity and thus for the merged entity. The management is confident that this deal would help increase not only the distribution power, it would help HDFC Bank get more expertise and more technology into the housing finance space, would help increase its margin, would help increase its revenue and would also help increase its distribution power. The management is quite confident that the merged entity would provide better margins, better profits and better sales for the company. This all in all is a very exciting news not only for the company but also for the entire sector. Please let us know what do you think about this merger in the comment section. Thank you.